I believe we may be live. Well, everyone, welcome again to Loving Month 2026. We are thrilled and excited to have you join us here. Myself, April the Loveologist, and my wonderful co-host, buddy, friend for life, Dr. Sonya LaRae. I am going to start out by just giving you a little brief synopsis of what today's program is about. Today, we wanted to really introduce you to not only both of us, but to our agencies and what we provide and how we have various things available for you within our companies. And I'm going to go ahead and allow Dr. LaRae to introduce herself. I'll come back and introduce myself, and then we will just simply move forward.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into the Love Nest. I tell you, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today, April. You know, my name is Sonya LaRae. I am Dr. LaRae, as most people know. I'm a luxury lifestyle architect that specializes in aligning high-performing lives through lifestyle counseling, fashion psychology, and naturopathic executive wellness. So I work with my clients in totality, mind, body, soul, and wardrobe, and it's a full service luxury agency, and we'll really get into everything that I bring to the table as this beautiful discussion births. And to be here in Loving Month to really do this with April is exciting. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I always enjoy doing things with you. I know when we were on Clubhouse, we got the nickname the Dynamic Duo, so we want to keep it dynamic for you all. Well, I am April Coffey, also known across social media and in other business arenas as April the Loveologist. And I specialize in assisting ladies in attracting their forever partner. And I do that via interracial or intercultural dating. So even if you think you might be interested, I am the person you want to speak to so we can open up your mind and let you see the possibilities. And I'm an author. I have 4 books, 2 ebooks, and 2 paperback books. One is What Your Mama Didn't Tell You About Dating, and the other one is the Forever Partner Formula. And I designed the Forever Partner Formula for you high achieving women who really want to dig deep into this interracial, intercultural dating. Now, Sonya, I know one of the things that you do exceptionally well is how you assist people with their wardrobes. So, can you tell me about your program that you have for that and how it would actually benefit people, even if they were just dating or professionally, etc.?
Well, you know what? It's so funny because a lot of times when people hear my title and people are listening to me when the term luxury lifestyle architect happens, they often assume I just help people with fashion or image or wellness. And the truth is, those are like little pieces to the puzzle. So when we're looking at it from that fashion psychology standpoint, we help to really bring your true identity to birth. So, first and foremost, when we come into this, we're talking about, do you really know yourself? A lot of times, what I tell people is they don't realize that their wardrobes are really talking bad about them behind their back. And they're saying little things that actually give away true essence of what is really happening. So, think about it in a dating setting. Like when we're talking about dating, sometimes we think like, oh, I'll wear black because, this is a nice, elegant color. It makes me look trim, but also it can give off a standoff or even a protected kind of sense.
Mhm.
So, what I like to teach clients about and really understanding, even in this forum of dating, yes, you may love black and you see, I wear black, it's like a uniform, but you also want to have that accent of color. So if you're thinking about this as a first date, bring in accents of colors of maybe yellow, bring in reds, different little colors that you know that will pop in things of that invitation. So really understanding what your wardrobe is supposed to do. Wardrobe is not just about style. Wardrobe is about functionality. Wardrobe is about intentionality, and wardrobe is about authenticity. And that's one of the biggest things that I work inside of in this spectrum when I'm working with clients as well.
Now, you know something that's really funny. You said the way people perceive your title. Well, when I first started doing the dating coaching and the love coaching and the interracial, and I started just really putting myself out there, to my surprise, I had people that would pop in my lives and say, "What is a dating coach? What is a love coach? I never heard of that before." And another thing that I ran into was a gentleman who had his PhD that insisted that I would call what I was doing intercultural dating. And I was like, okay, I know that. But what I realized was that what attracts people is their knowledge of interracial dating.
Yes.
And I also had to explain that a dating coach is not necessarily a matchmaker, because you know the matchmaker does everything for you. What I do is I help ladies to think about things and think clearly and get rid of like myths or things that they heard that were very negative about people from other cultures and other countries as in their younger years. And this is for people that I work with, this is the biggest, most important thing, to really clear those, I call them boulders, out of their minds so they can move forward. Because, you know, this is how I explained it to a person the other day. If you bought something brand new and you don't know how to work it or what the benefits are of it, then it's basically useless to you. It's just sitting there. But when you know about it, you know what buttons to push and what how you can make it personalized and really make it your own and make it do things with what you have, it becomes highly valuable to you. So this is one of the things that I really do with ladies in the beginning. And that's why in one of the other videos I said I like to talk to them and see where they are at first, so I'll know where to guide them to. And so I do that actually through having the one-on-one conversations, especially that initial conversation where we actually see what it is we need to do and where we need to go. So tell us about some other items that you have, because you know whatever you want to talk about, I can testify because I've tested it out.
So, you know what? It's so beautiful because you're giving the roadmap into your services and all. So, I guess the greatest part, and let me just kind of walk your audience into working with me or working with La Paz, how it looks. So, literally, I help high performing leaders architect a life that actually supports success they've created. So a lot of times many executives and entrepreneurs, there are professional athletes and the public figures have mastered their achievement, and what they haven't mastered, or let's just say what isn't mastered, isn't alignment. Okay. So their business work, their career work, their reputation, but privately they're exhausted and their relationships are suffering, declining. They're even that dating spectrum, like you're saying right now, we're in that loving month. They're depleted that they can't even connect with that. So my role is to like evaluate their entire ecosystem of their life and rebuild it in a way that creates harmony, clarity, executive presence, emotional regulation, and even that sustainable success. So, literally, a lot of times when we're looking at that space and place, it's a two sides of one problem. And it's constantly that we are moving that barrier or that bar forward in their life. And I love to tell people it's much like they give me their master plan or that elevation of what that blueprint they want for their life. And as an architect, I get to build out that beautiful landscape for them. So, literally, a lot of times, we walk into a space and place where you can have the right relationship and still sabotage it if your nervous system is deregulated. And so, a lot of times, when you're speaking about this and how April and I really work together and how it just marries so seamlessly, is because I to come in and have that regulation of the nervous system where she is elevating and educating you about your life source, meaning your dating resources, keeping you aligned in that space and place.
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you, once she explains to you about your nervous system, because the first time I heard it, I was like, my nervous system, huh? When I got an understanding of it, I was like, oh, and it made me think. And it made me think through different situations and things. And now I actually handle relationships much calmer. And one of the things about a lot of the ladies that I've learned as I've talked to them is that we have a lot of barriers in areas where we don't need them. And so when you understand this, what she's talking about, this nervous system thing, it can actually help you to relax and be able to make better decisions, spur of the moment, or in whatever type of situation you're in. So I really enjoyed learning that when she actually shared that with me. One of the things that I often help ladies with, especially these the ones who are professionals, and like you said, they're used to handling things on their job, being the boss, giving the instructions, etc., etc. One of the things that I do that is very important in your dating life is I help them transition their mind and body from working, giving orders, into moving into a more personal space where they're actually calm. And I call it, in my practice, I call it loose your girly and let her go. And I had somebody to ask me about it yesterday, and I was like, yes, you need to loose your girly. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And so I just share with them what their girly is and how it works and how it just gives them, um, I don't know, more or more, it makes them a more fun person, a more open person, a more relaxed person. And that actually helps them to move through their dating life very, very easy, smooth, and positively. But yes, it's called Loose Your Girly and Let Her Go. And you can also find out about it in my book, What Your Mama Didn't Tell You About Dating, because yes, I surely wrote about it in there a whole lot.
I love that. April, I think about it because, a lot of times when people come to me, they have a preconceived notion, right? And I think that's the same thing that they have with you. But I like to tell people that what makes my approach so different is that literally most professionals work on one area of life. And, like a lot of times if they go to therapy, the therapist only focuses on their emotional health, where coaches focus on performance. A stylist can just think about their appearance or what they're doing with their clothes, and a nutritionist is only about wellness. Well, I integrate all of those components into one advisory relationship because life doesn't happen in, compartments. We're not that component of just being in that one sector. We're just not like one-dimensional people. So literally helping people to understand that your wardrobe affects your confidence, your health affects your decision making, and your stress affects your communication, your emotional regulation affects your leadership. So everything is connected. So in that space and place, what makes me so different is because I'm aligning all of those elements, just like you teaching them to tap into their girly. You know, it has to have a connection and a solid base that people can really identify with. And I think what makes our approach so different, meaning your approach and my approach, is because we're like, I always tell people, we give like a bird's eye view. So it's like on that spectrum of where you're flying above and you get to see down into a person's life, which gives them a whole different perspective. It gives them a whole different perspective on where their journey is, that helps them to align all the key elements, all the key points. And I love it because when you're working in intercultural dating, it requires that you see it from a deeper aspect of that surface level. When I'm working with clients in that space and that spectrum of success, it requires that I look from a deeper aspect. And I always tell people, I always see them before they ever see me. And April can attest to this, and I will even tap into things that they don't even think that I notice or think that I see and bring it to their attention, much like what she does with her clients in their dating, space and in that world that they're entering. She sees and can tell you certain things that you're not even, really looking at fully.
Speaking of what we do that's different, that stands out in the marketplace, or to people who are just simply wanting some help, is that both of us have experienced people in a variety of cultures. And not just, when you say culture, people usually think of African American, Caucasian, or Asians, or whatever. But both of us have experienced people from a lot of different countries, and we are able to take that knowledge as well and put it into our practice, which helps us have ease in working with people. You go to some people, and the first thing they do is they're shocked when they see you. I'm going to tell a funny story. I'm not sure if it even fits with what we're talking about, but I'm going to tell a funny story. I remember years ago, I wanted to be on the radio, and I talked to this lady, and we had a great conversation. And I got there and I met her, and everything seemed like it was okay. But later on, after we got to be friends, she said, that first day you came, when you walked in, I was just in shock because I didn't think you were a woman. And I was like, but the thing is, people don't realize how much that is an advantage for them in working with us, because we have worked with so many people in different cultures, and not just. And when I say different cultures, I'm like, for you've worked with people, like you said, C-suite executive, people on all different type of professional levels. And that doesn't shock us at all when we hear about different things. We're actually able to work with you much, much freer, more calmer. And like she said, be able to see some things that you may not have realized yourself. Now, for myself, another thing that makes my agency different is that when I talk to the ladies, I find out if they have a particular culture of a gentleman that they would like to pursue. I'm not sure actually how I said that or if that was correct, but you know what I mean. Because what I do as we go along, I actually integrate into their coaching different dating norms of that person's culture. And some of them can be very interesting. Like some cultures, women here in the United States seem to have this expectation that the guy has got to do all the planning and all the everything for dates. But once you get to know each other, that's not necessarily necessary. But there are some cultures where the gentlemen just kind of don't do it. It's not that they're not interested, it's just their culture and how they handle things. Exactly. And so that's one of the things that is a bit different about my presentation and my coaching, is that I'm going to help you understand how to even attract from a particular culture, as well as how you're going to face some things that you're going to need to understand before you really get in there and you say, this the type of culture of a gentleman that I would like to connect with. So yes, that is definitely some things that make us different.
I always say that, my clients are not paying me because they need another planner, and they're not paying me because they need another morning routine either. They're paying me because success stopped feeling the way that they thought it would. And even so many leaders I work with are outwardly thriving and privately struggling. And it's sad to say that, but it's true. And I have to tell you, even as a C-suite executive myself, with owning my agency, I've been in business for a little over 24 and a half years. And I started my company when I was young. I was 18 years old, bright-eyed, bushy tail. So there's a lot of difference in your life and different expectations that you have. And literally, privately, when you're struggling in that space and place, you have to evaluate certain things. So they've become experts at carrying responsibility while neglecting themselves. And what they want is not more achievement, they want clarity, they want peace, they want emotional stability, they want stronger relationships, and they want their health back. And that is what I bring to the table for them, that they feel that success and they know that it can be sustainable and that it's long lasting. It's not something that's just going to be, for a momentary moment. It's going to be that it's sustainable in their lives. And I always say that I'm always the proof in the pudding. I always tell them, walk by example. I lead by example, and I want them to walk with me through that example. So, in turn, even in our space and place of what we do at La Paz, is that we put forth everything that we're doing. So you can't have a tagline where everything is fabulous, but we live in like everything is just basically barely getting by. So in turn, it really helps us to really align with our clients, much like how April was saying that we are able to open that doorway and really speak into a diverse background of clients. And the diversity is what establishes us above the rest, because literally for me, I'm international. My company is international. We deal with clients around the world. And so in turn, it helps us to understand pain points at different levels. Just like with April's agency, she's able to understand those pain points at a different level, which is why you want to really work with experts in the fields that we're in, because we're bringing that genuine factor to you. And I always tell everybody, if your therapist, if your coach isn't, dealing in that space and place, or they don't have a coach or they don't have a therapist, you know what? Go somewhere else.
That's what you do. That's definitely what you do. You know,
Right. I want to
go
ask you a
ahead.
question. I want to ask you a question, and I know that we haven't really like tapped in on all of that, but tell me, so your audience and even I know, who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is the woman between the ages of 40 and 70 actually is open to or knows for sure that she wants to be in an interracial, intercultural relationship. She also knows that this is the direction she wants to go, and she's not going to, or shall I say, she hadn't thought about the possibility of dabbing, sticking a toe in the water and then going back to her culture. This is a woman who knows this is the direction she wants to go. And one of the reasons she may know that is because she realizes that she's getting the attention that she desires from gentlemen outside of her culture.
I love it.
And she's a professional woman. She wants to know what's going on in her life and why she's not really making the connection solid that she wants so she can get to her forever partner.
I love it. So my ideal client is high performing executive, entrepreneur, elite athlete, or a public figure who literally has built something meaningful but recognizes that success without alignment eventually becomes like an operational exhaustion. And they typically are earning anywhere from 6 to 7 figures, and they're responsible for other people, and others depend on them, and they are often like looked at as the strong person in the room, but they're literally carrying so much emotional baggage or that misalignment within themselves, and they're tired of carrying everything alone. And so that's where I come in, and that's the client that I'm looking for, because for the simple fact that they are aware that they need someone to help them in that orchestration. I always feel like what I bring to the table and what to my clients is that we're a beautiful symphony. And if there is one part of that orchestra that is off, that horn is not coming in at the right time, that whole symphony is thrown off. The timing is thrown off. So in turn, that's what it is. I'm the beautiful conductor that comes in to orchestrate their life and to really put that space and place back in harmony. notice the word I did not use was balance, because balance is subjective. And even in your dating diet, that word balance cannot be there. It has to be harmony, because what I think is balance, what your loveologist thinks is balance, it may not be balance for you. It may be just subjective. And so harmony is something that we all can achieve.
Yes, yes. It may be subjective. Um, One of the things I was thinking about as you were talking to was um, a lot of women tend to have an idea when you say work on yourself. They think it's just going to the salon, getting a massage, and getting their nails done. But one of the things that I do is I introduce them to a much deeper definition of work off, so that they know what's internal going on. What's actually, just to break it down and make it simple, I help them to stop blaming other people for past relationships and recognize what it is that they have contributed. And that helps them also to be able to secure more solid relationships. And this is something that people use that word work on yourself, but do they really know what it means and how it actually helps them?
I like that because, a lot of times when we are talking about that, it is that space and place that you have to have that deeper introspection of self. And working on self is such an element in different things that it takes in. So I always like to say that, I have the private advisory, and this is like my flagship engagement. And the private advisory is like a 12-month luxury advisory relationship design for my high performing leaders who are ready to recalibrate their lives, the aspects of their life. And that means those deeper introspective spaces that we as people, I always tell people in a lot of my discussions, and April can even testify this. I tell them that I give out master keys in all of my discussions, because those master keys allow us to open up the hallways, the corridors, and the secret compartments of our heart and our mind. It's the same thing when you're working on yourself, working in that space of self. It's the secret compartments that only you know of and that you are aware of. So literally, like I like to tell my clients that this is not coaching, this is not, consulting, this is not therapy. This is a highly personalized advisory experience where we examine the complete architecture of my client's life. This is stepping into that deeper introspection of self to really align all the elements of where we're going or how you're going. And I always say we, because when you think about the person that you're working with, if you're working with April the Loveologist, or you're working with Dr. Sonya LaRae, we are a team. So it's a we situation. Even though it's going to it's going to be an element of your life, it technically is a we journey. And so that's the way that I love to put it. We're like the beautiful training wheels that you get to have on that bike until you can ride it on your own.
Nice, nice. And the link to her private advisory is definitely down there in the comments, along with the link to her Instagram. And I'm going to tell you, her advisories are like none other. You feel like you're in a conversation, which is what you're in. But let me tell you, by the time you get to the end of her private advisory, you're going to already be a changed person. So, so you definitely want to get in there and get going with her, because she's going to take you down all the right paths that you need to go down. Now, at Authentic Love, which is the name of my company and my agency, we have started a new program, and we call it Ask the Loveologist. Well, it's not new, but we're bringing it back is what we're doing. I don't know why I can't talk today. But anyway, we're bringing back the Ask the Loveologist segments. but we're housing it inside the private Lovebird Lounge. You know, over the years, it's just been very baffling to me because I know that I have put out a lot of very good content and I've asked a lot of questions and a lot of things, but I noticed that a lot of people just simply do not respond. And so I come to learn that dealing in this arena, not just dating, but in the interracial, intercultural area, people just simply don't want to comment or ask questions in the public eye, which would be in the comments. So we are opening up this private Lovebird Lounge, which in the comments, that in the description there is a link to it to be on the waiting list. And in this Lovebird Lounge, we are going to answer your questions. And we're going to ask some questions that you're not going to think about asking. Because I'm going to tell you, I've been asked some very interesting questions that were private, shall I say. And there's one particular question that I know we're going to discuss in the Lovebird Lounge. But these are some things that we are doing for you because I want you to succeed. And I definitely want to assist 10,000 people in connecting with their forever partner. And yes, I know I can do that because as you connect and people learn about you, then it can actually grow like that. But the thing is, I want you to win. I don't want you to just make it to the altar and just be married. I want you to be connected and married to your forever partner. So we have this available for you. We are looking forward to having a lot of people in that private Lovebird Lounge where we are answering questions regardless to how difficult you think they are. They're not difficult to me because I have run into a lot of things. And if you just happen to stump me, just happen to, believe me, I like Sonya said earlier, I have a counselor that, so I'm not out here just hanging out. And so I have resources that I can go to get you some answers if you have a question that you just happen to stump me on. But this is the thing. I just really want you women to succeed. I have in my lifetime, and I know y'all think that I'm just a young chickadee in my 30s or whatever, but anyway, in my in my lifetime, I have seen so many things in relationships, marriages, etc., etc. And I am at the point to where I want to see what I can do to put a dent in that divorce rate. So I want you to win. So be sure that you come and join us in the Lovebird Lounge. Get your questions answered. Because the thing is, a lot of people like to ask family and friends, but Sonya and I, we not only have our own personal experiences with people from a variety of cultures, we've also been trained, we study, we know even about other people's experiences. And that's one of the benefits of working with professionals. We're not limited in our knowledge. And that's what we're here to do, to help you progress, to receive to make the goals that you desire. And so these are the things that we have available. I also have one-on-one coaching. I know this group of women are really into having things private and not letting all their information out there. I also do one-on-one coaching. So I'm looking forward to seeing many of you actually in my Lovebird strategy sessions. So, oh, and by the way, if you guys want to know how we came up with this Lovebird stuff, Sonya's lovely daughter decided that she would share that with me. And I was like, oh, I like that idea. So that's how we came up with the Lovebirds.
Yep. She is an aspiring entrepreneur herself. She's 14 years old and she's really dedicated to doing certain things. And I think that's what really is being that example. Like I said, we are really living by example, and what she's doing and how she even thought about this lovebird and the love nest and everything else. It's beautiful because it helps us to walk into that integral parts of ourselves. So, like April was telling you a little bit about her services, I would like to kind of invite you inside of my services, which is the private advisory, and just to kind of, give you some guidance in what exactly takes place in there. So it's about your executive lifestyle architect, of course, your emotional regulation, because what people don't realize, when we're dysregulated, we cannot get anything else situated in our lives, be it from your lifestyle, your wardrobe, your health. It all requires that you have that emotional regulation. So I tap into emotional regulation, executive presence, your fashion psychology, your personal brand alignment, which many of you all as executives, and especially you ladies, you high achieving women, have to realize that you are a personal brand. So your brand has to align with that. Your naturopathic executive wellness, really having that mind, body, and soul connection, lifestyle structure, your cognitive clarity, your stress management. Who nowadays does not need stress management? And understanding what that looks like, how it feels, and especially if you're in the space and place of dating, how to regulate that stress, how to acknowledge it and to give it the dignity and respect that it deserves. And then, of course, your relationship alignment we're dealing with. And it's just so many different things. You get quarterly lifestyle reviews, you get your strategic lifestyle design with me, your direct private access, because you only get access with me if you're inside of that advisory and we're working together in a personalized framework, and your ongoing lifestyle assessment as well. So, literally, it's a lot of things that are placed into it, but it's all that it's cohesive. And that's when people look at my title. I think a lot of times they don't understand how beautifully it marries together, because you don't understand that lifestyle, wardrobe, and health are all intertwined. And when you look at that from that standpoint, you can't have healthy relationships if your health isn't well. You cannot have a great health if your lifestyle isn't working with you. And you cannot have a great wardrobe when the two on the end are imbalanced. They're going to feed and trickle into it, and it's going to tell the story of why you are just a pretense, or you're just a cover, a beautiful cover, and that's it. So I think it's a lot of elements that go into it, but with those elements is such clarity and definition.
You know, one of the things that I can we both do and do with serious excellence is this. Your first encounter with us, actually, you walk away with something changed, with a certain level of transformation already. I'm just going to give an example for my business, and then I'm going to give you an example from what I've learned from Sonya and how quick it worked for me. Um, I had a lovebird strategy session with a young lady, and 2 weeks later, she was dating her first Caucasian guy. And she was surprised as to how much, like Sonya said, clarity she received just in that one session that made such a big difference. And I remember the first time I was communicating with Sonya, it was just so interesting and just so different. And I remember when we finished, my thoughts about certain things had just changed. And I was like, oh. And I actually felt like a different person, because that is something that we do. We do not waste time. We are definitely about helping you progress into your transition. And then once we get you going, we're definitely about getting you to your goal, to your goal. Sonya, do you have other specific, I don't know what I want to call them, programs or events that people can uh, participate and receive your expertise in?
So many of you all don't know that I have my own show. It's called Whispers in a Bottle Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays. That's live every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Podbean. You can look me up. Matter of fact, you can find me on any of your favorite places that you listen to your podcast. So if you're on Apple, look for Whispers in a Bottle and look for my face. Oh, well, you know what? Our new logo is even up and it has a beautiful little cocktail in there because we have the featured mocktail of every episode. So if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, The Whispers Exchange, honey, you're missing everything. I have to tell you, you're missing everything. It's pretty good, isn't it, April?
Yes, and the mocktails. Okay, the
Yes,
mocktails.
they're serving up. They're really serving. And I tell you, because, what people don't understand is that I really live this life and really helping you to understand how you two are to live your life, because we are sacrificing a lot when we're building our brands, when we're out here developing our success and all. But literally, it should not be that it's depleting you, that you can't show up and show out. And so in turn, I really believe it and I walk in that integrity. And so I even make sure that you have a functional mocktail. So when you hear that word functional, it has benefits to you on a cellular level. So we may be associated with Toast non-alcoholic beverages or NA non-alcoholic beverages, but they're functional mocktail cocktails for you to enjoy. If you like to join me on the Noom Vibe, which is a fabulous app, it even helps you with your health, and it's awesome. I'm there every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now we are on a summer hiatus because, see, your girl knows how to take care of herself. I'm on a little summer hiatus, but you can go and listen to all the replays. And April, we always have a great time talking about certain things and bringing in certain elements. I am a producer of several shows. And if you follow me on my Instagram page, you will actually get to tap into all of the resources that I have, even right down to how healthy our skin looks, how beautiful our skin is. I'm telling you, holistic esthetician, I live by everything that I put in, and you can see the proof is in the pudding. I feel like I am that billboard for my brand, and I want you to see how beautiful it can be, even for you on the other side of the table as your brand.
Now she does live the life. Let me tell you, she does live the life. And one of the things that I have come across, then speaking about living the life, is I've come across a lot of people and they're like, and they just give me a look because, like I said earlier, people just assume things or don't assume things. So one of the things that has helped me in writing several of these books is that, yes, I live the life too. I don't just talk about and tell you about interracial dating. I have dated Hispanics, Africans, Caucasians. No, I'm not a floozy. Don't do that because see, we teach people also a new definition of dating, and my definition of dating is no, we're not sleeping around. Okay, so I live
A
the life.
healthy dating life does not mean that everyone has access to the treasure.
There you go.
And I think that a lot of times when you're speaking about dating, healthy dating requires that you date often. But healthy dating also does not mean that you sacrifice your morals or your body. And I think that is something that has to change. The narrative has to change because you realize that they don't call men floozies that are out here dating and dating regularly, but they love to pin that onto a woman. And one thing working with April the Loveologist, as well as working with myself, we will teach you about letting go of those labels and how labels can sabotage your success in your dating arena.
Definitely, definitely. So for those of you who are inquisitive or who have said, well, what is her story? I am dating someone now. I'm in a lovely relationship. And no, he's not African American. And we're just moving and grooving, shall I say. But yes, I live the life. The things that I share in my books, in my coaching, some of them, yes, they have to do with my training, but they also have to do with I've lived through some of these things and I can actually share with you how you can deal with and enjoy your relationship and keep it moving. So I just wanted to say that if you would like to check out some of my books, this one here, actually, I'm not sure if it'll show really good, but this one I had the privilege of having Dr. LaRae to add a chapter to it, and I'm very proud of that. And the name of the Forever Partner Interracial Dating Playbook for the Women of Influence. And the other one is What Your Mama Didn't Tell You About Dating, an ebook about rewrite your love story. I was asked why it's important for women to rewrite their love stories, because mainly you can. You don't have to live in the past and do things like that. So I have various uh, avenues for you to actually level up your interracial dating experience, as I call it. So, Dr. LaRae, what
Yes.
else would you like to tell us about your lovely agency? Because, see, I know I've experienced it. Oh, I've learned how to put on makeup over the internet. I have learned how to regulate my nervous system. I've just learned a lot of things from you. So, what else you got over there hiding in that bag of tricks?
We have so much. I tell people you don't get to really experience the Lapazian way until you really get to sign into the agency because there is so much that we do offer to our clients. So literally I work with a very limited number of clients each year because the work is highly customized. And like I said, I have private advisory and that's what April is speaking about is the private advisory because literally it covers all the elements that she's speaking of. So literally she's taken a skin-tastic journey with us and her skin is just glowing. It looks good. She's done different things. We even have our makeup classes that we do. We teach about applying makeup, how makeup is an enhancement. It does not mean that you put on a mask because the one thing you always want to come and be authentically yourself. And so it's just kind of bringing you in. And all my natural girlies, we teach you about the natural look, how you don't have to have makeup on or a ton of makeup to really have that beautiful skin. But we also teach you how to balance the skin out so you don't have hyperpigmentation, you don't have dark spots, you don't have bags or sags in your face. And fellas, we teach you about your skin care, about your beard care, about how you are to look and different things that are really going to help you in exfoliating your body and even getting your body to perform at a higher level. We teach you about your nutrition, and April can attest to this that we do even have a little segment that we send out e-blast or text messages with certain little recipes that are just strictly for our community. And we have different things that you're going to learn with regards to how to detoxify your body and what it means when you have toxins. So it's a lot that's entailed. So let me tell you this, because a lot of times when you hear people speak or you hear different professionals come in and speak, they're not very transparent about what is this going to cost you. So I'll tell you that literally my private advisory is a 12-month engagement. And I literally, you are with me for a year. A lot of my clients are, signed back in after that year too, because we are on a long-term relationship. And it's $5,000 per month. And there is a $500 non-refundable application and assessment fee because you have to really come in. That assessment allows me to fully evaluate whether I'm the right advisor for you and whether the private advisory is the appropriate fit for you. I'm not just taking your money. I'm not just going to take you in and be like, oh, yes, we can. And I'm not the right person. But what I am going to do, even in that space and place when we meet, you're going to come away with even wealth, even if you're not working with me, but you're going to be able to know, look, I got to step in. I have to do this because I believe deeply in selective partnerships and not everyone is meant for the advisory and the advisory is not meant for everyone. And so I'm very transparent about that and I'm very upfront about that as well.
And it's all worth it. It's all worth it. It's all going to change your life. That's for sure. It is all
Yes.
going to change your life. You were talking about that detoxify. A lot of people don't even realize that they need to be detoxified. And everything that Sonya does is just so smooth. You just don't realize that's what you're doing. And she began to share with me about different eating habits. It's one thing I love about working with Sonya. She's not like other people. They want to beat you over the head about things you're doing or not doing, and she's not. And she's just so smooth about it. And before I knew it, she had me changing my diet, but it wasn't like a lot of people think you're going to lose your taste, or you're not going to be able to eat the nice things that you want to eat or whatever. No, she took some of the things that I was eating and enhanced it, but my body had been detoxified. My energy began to just soar, and my confidence did too, because she's working on your whole body in totality, that all kinds of things just begin to work together, things I didn't know were in me. I'm like, oh God.
Exactly.
But
And you
this
know what?
is, go
Go on.
ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go on.
I was just gonna say, this is just how working with her is. It's just so smooth and it's so gradual, and you'll look back and say, wow, I didn't know that those things were changing. They were getting better. And that detoxified thing, I didn't know that, because I always thought that I had shifted into eating healthy before I met her. But like
And
those
you know, it's
recipes
so
and things,
funny.
oh my goodness.
You know, it's so funny because a lot of people, they tell me when they come to me, "Well, I've already changed my eating habits." But they don't realize that sometimes they're eating certain things that are not for their body type. And what people don't understand, there's certain fruits, there's certain foods that you should not be eating because of your blood type even. And people don't believe that until you start to pivot and change things in their diet, and they see it and they feel it. I'm excited every time when anyone comes back to me and says, "You know, Sonia, I have to tell you something." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" You know, and or they don't realize that I'm moving them in a different direction. And April was one of those ones that was being moved, but she didn't realize she was being moved until it really kind of was like, "Wait a minute." And then she realized, and it came back and it was like, "Oh, wait a minute. You know what? This, and this is happening, and I feel this." And I just feel like as we do this journey, it just aligns in the person that you really wanna be. And I have to tell you, April, you know I am one who celebrates a win, a micro win, or anything else. And April, by far, I celebrate you all the time because you are just a testimony in itself, but not just for La Paz, but for yourself and your agency as well. Because everything that she has done has elevated everything that she is bringing to you all.
You know, that also brings me to this. One of the things a lot of people don't realize when it comes to working with a professional is that they have to do some of the work themselves. I've had people come to me and they just won't move, they won't do things. But here's the deal: if you want transformation, you're going to need to do the work. Do the work. You can't just sit there and watch and not ask questions and whatever. And one of the things that I have done in my agency, like Sonya has several different groupings of programs. I also have a 1 month, a 3 month, and a 12 month. So it gives you time to work on things. It gives you phases to go through. And the biggest thing that is really going to help you is you getting in there and doing the work, doing your part. I know a lot of people probably, when I tell them about my car accident and what it resulted in, they are probably thinking whatever they're thinking. But when they meet me and they see the difference in my body, they're just in shock. Why? Because when I go to work with a counselor, I do what they tell me. And that's what you're going to need to do when you come to work with us. You're going to need to do the bad word, homework, in order for you to get the results. And this is the thing: our clients are getting wonderful results because they are doing the work. And the work and their results is actually worth their investment. So they keep coming back. And this is how it goes. And we want to invite you to come and join us and do the private advisory, the Lovebird strategy session, and just come on and experience what we have available for you. Well, Sonya, do you have something else you want to do before we wrap up here?
I guess, for closing, I'll just say this. I believe one of the greatest tragedies is building success or a successful life that no longer feels good to live. And literally, people spend years chasing achievement. So, my work is helping them reconnect to themselves once they've achieved it. And because what I personally feel and how I state it is that true luxury is not what you wear, but true luxury is really waking up aligned with who you are, how you live, and how you lead. And if we're preparing, or if you're preparing to live a life that is healthy or to live a life that is full, you deserve to invest in yourself. And sometimes, as April said, that requires that heavy lifting. And as people, we have to be willing to invest in ourselves. So, yes, sometimes people say, well, you know what? $5,000, a month is a lot. But isn't it worth not having misalignment that is far greater? Poor decisions, burnout, health issues, relationship breakdowns, leadership fatigue. It really requires a little investing in self. And I have to say, April, I love how you do things inside of the agency with regards to the lovebirds, because they really get a totality in their relationship as well. And it's across the board. And I think when people are looking at really working with the professionals, now let me just say, there's professionals and then there's experts at what they do. And we are experts at what we do. I'm not just a professional, I am an expert in my area. I cannot have a title as a luxury lifestyle architect that has been trademarked. I own that trademark because I am an expert in my field. I have studied personal behaviors. I have studied the psychology of fashion, what it does with people, how it is with people. I have become, a practitioner in holistic wellness. And just like April has invested her time, her energy in all the certifications, all the degrees to help you to elevate your dating life, step in, really step in. And I always tell people, lean in because we will catch you. We will definitely catch you.
Well, as we are closing out here, I just want to remind you that you can have the man of your dreams regardless of your age, size, or skin color. But let me add this little caveat today. You will need to tweak a few things about you because nobody's perfect. So I want to invite you to be sure that you check the comments. I mean, not the, I keep saying the comments, the description under the video so that you can get the links to the contact points. Also, we want to invite you to make sure you come back next week. We're still celebrating Loving Month. This is one of my favorite months of the year. And if you don't know what we're talking about when we say Loving Month, one of the main things we're doing is that we are honoring those people who have gone before us and braved whatever they had to brave to have their interracial, intercultural relationships. And if you don't, it's only been a few years, a little, I don't know the exact years, but a little over, I believe over 50 years since it has actually become legal here in the United States for you to have an interracial or intercultural marriage. So this is definitely a privilege for us to be able to do. And as it says, and I always have to throw in some biblical stuff, as it says in the Bible, for such a time as this. We are here for such a time as this. So be sure you come back next Wednesday, because next Wednesday we are going to talk about something that is very dear to both of our hearts, and that is dating, or having a. I don't know why I can't talk today. What's the deal?
Too much excitement. Too
That's
much
a good
excitement.
point. Dating with a disability. I know there are many of you out there, you have not experienced a disability, so it may not be anything of importance to you. But to the two of us, it is a big issue, and it's something that's near and dear to our hearts. And we're going to share with you about some of the insights. And in case you didn't know, there is a huge subculture of people who are dating, married, etc., in wonderful relationships, and one or both of them has a disability. And so this is something for you to actually be aware of, especially when you're dating um, someone from another culture. And we'll be right here next Wednesday at 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. Again, I can't talk. I'm going to get it out.
Well,
We'll see you all right back here next week on Wednesday at 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern, as we talk about dating with a disability. Sonya, thank you so much for joining me, supporting me this month, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
me too. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Yes, that is very important. Bye bye now.